What up, people? It's your boy, Master Chudy out here with another review of my adventures with Superman. So, I'm going to be upfront and honest. The last two episodes I've been heavily down on, and this episode I'm also down on. But I would say there are more positives, or one positive that manages to eclipse or at least blunt some of the negatives that come into it. But Here's let's just get into the episode quickly. So, as we know, everybody knows Jimmy and Lois know Clark's secret, basically, and basically Clark wants to have the perfect day for Lois, so he's freaking out about it, and he's trying to perfect the perfect plan. Make sure that all that he's able to save people and stop crime that won't have an effect on his day. And Lois is trying to find the perfect gift. Well, first of all, before that, Clark freaking apologizes for keeping a well-earned secret, his identity, from Lois, and they decide to make up anything. It was asinine. But back to the whole point. So yeah, Jimmy goes to Lois. She's trying to find out more about Clark's past and do what they can, but simultaneously, um, Clark is visited by Mr. Mixelplick, Mr. Mixapitilic, very pretty much, basically. I hope I got that right. I just call him Mix because it's always been a name I haven't been able to get, even since the animated series. And so here we come. And right off the bat, the design of Mr. Mix here is nothing but a rip-off Sheba, or the small fox character from Inuyasha, basically, along with other things. He's very anime, very very anime. But essentially comes to Clark and pretty much tells him that, hey, I need your help to save the world. And Clark's like, nope, got a date. I need things to be normal. I don't have nothing to do with it. But apparently, Mr. Mix says, hey, your Lois is in danger. And so Clark is like saying, all right, let's do it. And so they portal out of there. Meanwhile, Lois forgot some dry cleaning and she's about to get it. And then she's accosted by a couple of people in suits, basically, that you see a little bit in the beginning of the episode. And they come to her saying that, hey, we need your help because your Clark is in danger. And they're like saying, who are you? And then it turns out to be the Council of Loises. Like the Council of Reeds, like the Council of Ricks. We're straight into multiverse, not even not even 10 episodes into this season. We're already getting multiverse issues, and I'll get to why that's a problem later. But pretty much, back to Clark. They break into a secure location. Turns out that it's some kind of hall of artifacts. Turns out that Mr. Mix wants to steal something. Clark doesn't know this. And when he busts in, he pretty much says that, hey, I got what I needed. I'm robbing the place. Got to rob this thing. Clark defeats the security, but he realizes that he's been used. And, Mr. Mix obviously is a multiverse traveler because he tells him that, hey, I've been across the whole world, been across different multiverses, and all you Clarks are the same, but you are probably the dumbest, all that type of stuff. And we see different types of Superman, of course, the 1930 Superman. We see the Superman the Animated Series one, more of that, known as Earth 505, 508, pretty much, as they say. And they decide, but pretty much Mixoplex, they try to fight, and Clark has him down, and he manages to pull them out elsewhere. Meanwhile, we go back to what we see the the Council of Loises pretty much said that, hey, we need your help. We need you to find Clark. They just take her DNA, and they are keeping some things away from her and all that type of stuff. We also see an additional Jimmy, who's a woman, a female Jimmy. I think Jenna, that's her name is. And they, after initial coldness, they both warm each other because they both have podcasts on the supernatural, this and that. But it's found out that the Loises are there to neutralize Clark, saying that your guy is evil, and so on and so forth. They manage to get to an island or another world, and Mr. Mixer, they lock Lois up, and they keep Jimmy away from her. They even acknowledge that, hey, you're not really a threat. Like, you're not necessarily a threat, but you're too much like us for you not to be somewhat of a problem. So they lock her up, and they take Jimmy outside as well, just to keep an eye on him. Then, of course, they fight Clark, and they have kryptonite guns, and Clark gets hit with kryptonite in a very interesting way, where he also begins to like have crystalline kryptonite come out of his skin. So that's pretty interesting. But long story short, Mr. Mix tricks them all, takes the ship, and decides to go to uh, the Lois Council of Lois headquarters. But he meets our Lois, the current show's Lois, and they find out that he wants to go with them to find out what they're keeping from her. So, or what Superman's past is, because she tried looking on the mainframe and was access denied. So they get to the place with Mr. Mix. Mr. Mix is looking for his thing. Lois manages to find the file on Clark, but she doesn't know how to open it. But Mr. Mix, of course, finds what he's looking for, which is his hat. And initially, I liked the fact that it was the original small top hat from the animated series. But of course, this being the show that it is, it had to transform into some anime stuff. Mr. Mix becomes more powerful. They try to fight him and all that type of stuff. He's very powerful, but then of course they trick him. They take off the hat, which is kind of anticlimactic because the way that they defeated him in the animated series is that Clark had to get this man to say his name, and that's that. But of course, the Lois send them all back. Well, not they didn't send them all back. They managed to. Female Jimmy Jenna decides to help out Jimmy, manages to port the three of them back to the original world, and the Lois just decide to say, "Oh, whatever, and let's just put Mr. Mix in jail." They decide to do a range. They decide Lois and Clark kiss. Jimmy gives them their space, yada yada yada. But Lois still has the freaking orb that has Superman's information. And it turns out that, for goodness sake, she's seeing a history, or pretty much we get like Injustice Superman, or it was the time from the animated series where Lois went to another time and Superman was picked up by Lex and he became evil because it's almost the exact same outfit. Whatever, whether it's Red Sun Superman or that Lex Ray Superman, or whether it's Injustice Superman, we see a Superman laying waste to the world. It doesn't even look that threatening. What I did say, and what I found surprising, was that Mr. Mix broke out of prison quite easily, because the way that they defeated him felt like, oh, here's another person that's been nerfed and dealt with, but he's there. And he's like saying, yeah, just like every Lois is not a Pulitzer Prize winner, not every Superman is nice. And, he just said, you know what? She's asking him to tell more information. It's like, you know what? No, it'll be a lot more fun for you to figure it out. And that's the end of that episode. So Lois will have some doubts. Let's get to the things I liked and the things I disliked. So looking back, there are actually two things I liked. One, of course, I liked the Easter eggs. I liked going back to I liked seeing the animated Superman look. And we also got to see the DCAU animated look of Lois in the Hall of Loises, which I thought was fascinating. So that was good. What I really liked, I'm going to say, was Mr. Mixoplitilic. And I didn't like his design, but as I said in one video concerning my Dawn of the Dead animated word for word reshoot, sometimes good voice acting can make up for weaknesses in, say, the animation. In this case, good character made up for this kind of overly anime design. Mr. Mixoplitilic was very cunning. He was charismatic. He was not dealt a blow. He basically is ahead of everybody. It's like he seems to have gotten enough power from that hat, or maybe he hid that hat and saw where those was coming from. And he's a manipulator, as he was in the animated series. Though he's no Godwin Godfrey, um, he was very well done. I really liked I not that I really liked it, but I enjoyed this rendition of him. I thought he was good. I thought he was well done. I can't knock the villain this time around. Imagine this show seems to be getting at least its core villains right. Basically, the general and well, Mr. Mixopontilic. But let's get to what I disliked. For starters, Lois and Clark's relationship is just stale to me. There's like it's so fast, it's so rushed, no time is taken. All is forgiven. Oh, they're already going on dates. They already know the identity. There's nothing like anything like that. Clark, the whole point of Superman and what the whole point of her not knowing for a while was that initially, before he ever told her, and they were going out for years before she found out, was because he wanted somebody to keep him grounded, with even without the knowledge of him being Superman. Lois grounded Clark. Now you have a case where, yeah, she knows, but she wants to use Superman for all this type of stuff. Superman, of course, Mr. Phillips always says that Clark will never be normal, nor be normal. And yes, that's the case, but it's always good to have a case where he can feel normal. And I don't think this relationship offers that chance for him to find that peace that he wants. And they're both highly neurotic people. Like they don't they like have knowing peace, no matter how Clark wants it. It's not even in their DNA at the moment. This relationship is not looking good. Another thing that I didn't like, the whole multiverse issue. We got now the multiverse is in here. Now we're knowing about the different Earths, Earth 52, Earth 508, Earth Prime, all this type of stuff. The Council of Lois's, multiverse of people. For goodness sake, there's a reason why people are having issues with the whole multiverse plotline. We just saw this thing. We're seeing this thing flop in real time in the MCU and in the Flash. Stop with the multiverse. Now it's no longer My Adventures with Superman was given the idea that at least maybe definitely the first season, you hope for 2 seasons where you wouldn't deal with this type of multiversal madness type of thing. You would think that this is going to be a focused Superman show on just Metropolis, preferably, and it is just Superman, Jimmy, and Lois. Not all this. Now we got multiverses. We got different versions of Lois, mostly female and one male. You've got a female Jimmy. You've got Earth Prime. You've got all other forms of Superman and whatnot. It doesn't help the show, in my opinion. Uh, Lastly, I would say that the one thing that bugged me was that freebie ending. The idea that you're now in, and you can also attribute it to maybe the multiverse, but this one is a little bit different to me. You are attributing, you're already pushing in the idea of an injustice Superman or whatever, an evil Superman already. Like, even Clark doesn't even know. And the thing with the way the show has done is that Clark doesn't even know his past yet. He doesn't know anything at all. At all. I mean, it's blank and all that type of stuff. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't even know much about his powers, which is a choice for this show to take. So now you're introducing a very huge component of Superman already into this show, and you're instilling another weird piece of doubt in Lois, whereby, guess what? I promise you that, no secrets. She will keep this from him, and she will try to find out on her own. Like she doesn't want Clark to see this, and then all this bunk that she gave Clark about keeping secrets from her, she will face no consequences when she does the same. It's insanity. But yeah, whew, I don't know, man. I don't know. This episode has major problems, but what it does have going for it is that at least it's better than the last two. And, one can say, hey, maybe that's not much, but you take the victories where you get them. So I would say that for starters, if I had to do something, if I had to give this, I'll give this a 6.5 out of 10, simply because the villain elevated this show thanks to his charisma, his cunning, and quite frankly, his dialogue. So yeah, I give this a 6.5 out of 10. Thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notifications to make sure you're notified. Once again, I do reviews like this for you, the people, because I don't discuss good. Well, I'm going to discuss this show and get your views on them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank y'all for watching, and I hope to have more videos up when I can. Peace.